Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Thursday. It's the 18th of July, 2024. I'm going to look at the Pick 3 connecting races 7 through 9 from the spot, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it, around the world. Join me this weekend for my Saratoga Coaching Club preview. Also, you have the Haskell from Monmouth, and also you have opening day from Del Mar, so some good action on both sides of the country here. But I was originally going to look at the late pick 4. Only problem is that 10th race is so tough that I'll be here for another 3 days looking at it. So I decided, you know what, let's do a pick 3 where I'm more confident in races 7, 8, and 9. So let's get to it right now. The 7th, 8th, and 9th race. The 7th race, beginning of this pick 3 we're going to play. It's a starter allowance race per $70,000 race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Never start for a claim price $50,000 or less, which never won a race on the main claim starter. We have a field, a very good field, of 13 horses entered, including part of an entry. Only 10 could go 1,600 meters or the Wilson Mile here at Saratoga. Gonna go with the 7-horse reserve Currency as a top selection. 7-6-3-5 in the superfecta. 7-6-3-5 super, top selection 7-horse reserve Currency. 5-year-old Gelding here by American Freedom. Mike Maker trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. gets the mount. Most recent outing came in the 25,000 claimer at Aqueduct. A mile on the 16th of June was a success for this horse. He won by 5 3/4 lengths that day, and from a tracking trip, he slowly moved his way into this race. He quickened up nicely, and he went away with it. An all-around good race, finally cutting back in trip, getting a good weight. This is an all-around good run for this horse. Was carrying ginormous weight on the back, 2 back, going around 2 turns in Aqueduct. Mile 8th on the 27th of April in that starter allowance race, finishing 5th by 5 1/4 lengths that day, 127 pounds, which is quite high for the weights in this time of in this day of thoroughbred racing here stateside. But this horse just was wide and just never really keeping up. I don't think this horse was really comfortable around 2 turns that day. His most recent mile races have been a lot better. 40,000 claimer was his previous race at Aqueduct on the 8th of March over the 1-turn mile, winning by a nose, closing up from the back of the pack. Timed the race perfectly. That was a very, very good run. Final start in the Brown Barn. If you look at some of the races earlier this year and late last year, those are against some very tough horse, especially late last year, where his form just kind of went backwards. I think it's his starter allowance company. That's where he's really showed a lot. He's training well at Belmont and here at Saratoga since his last race. He has some forwardly pace, which is good over the Wilson Mile. At 3-1, I'm definitely going to use him in the pick 3. I think the 6-horse owned the field for Mike Maker and Luis Saez. The stablemate can find a trip to win also. Most recently, 7th of June locally at the spot, going 7 in a starter allowance race. Finished 2nd by 2 3/4 lengths. A little bit rambunctious before the race, but was really gaining that day. I thought showed potential back to a 1-turn. Prior to that, on a 50th claimer at Oakland over the mile, he finished 2nd by a nose, where he just kind of got caught at the wire. Maybe the 2 turns got to him, and I do think 6 was just a little bit too short for him that day at the previous races at Oakland over the winter. I think back to a mile, back to Saratoga, that's something this horse wants to do. I would use this horse on the ticket, and even the 3-horse Furious Anger for Dale Robins and Johnny V. Might have to get a little quicker on the speed figure side, but the win last time out in that claiming 80 at Churchill around 2 turns was quite impressive, where he grinded out to the wire, and then he showed potential from a wide trip before that at Churchill. Coming here, training well, I'll give this horse a shot on the ticket. But to recount my selection now for the 7 from Saratoga, going to take the 7-horse reserve Currency, give kudos to the 6-horse own the field and the 3-horse Furious Anger. 7-6-3-5 super, 7-6-3 in the multi-race. The 8th race, hopefully to the turf course with this 8th race from Saratoga. It's a claiming event going for a $50,000 purse. Races for Phillies Mayors, 3-year-olds and upwards. Never started for a claim price, blah, 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 blah. 30,000 claim price here. We have a field of 16 horses entered, 14, 15, 16 are MTOs, 11, 12, 13 are AEs. So 10 will head 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the inner, 18 feet. The rails are up. Going to take the 8-horse Miss Pretender as a top selection. 8, 9, 7, 6 in the superfecta. 8, 9, 7, 6 super. Top selection 8-horse Miss Pretender, a 3-year-old filly by Mendelssohn here. Chad Brown trains this one. Manny Franco gets the mount. He's a Pennsylvania bred, so he ran last time out of Parks, 7.5 on the turf in a main special weight for $64,000, and he won by a half a length that day. And he basically walked in the front end, or stalked in the front end. He stalked. He got the lead. He almost got caught late, but he really, gamed it out to the wire. 65 buyer wasn't as fast as his debut, but it was still a very good return to the winner's circle, or race to the winner's circle. Coming here to claiming 30,000, which I think this horse is, a good spot for this horse to run in. I think he could really improve off that run. He ran at Tampa on the 28th of April previously, a mile in the main special weight for 32,000, and he finished second by a half length that day. And again, he was sat on the front end. He got overtaken right before the wire, but he ran his heart out. He has some really good cruise control. Since the last race, he was training quite nicely at Monmouth. He's getting some class relief from his previous races. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket. I think the 9-horse Super Coca for Grand Motion and Florent Giroux could find a trip to win also. Most recently at Delaware with about a mile 16th and off 75 in June. He finished 8th by 13 3/4 lengths that day and didn't have the best beginnings. From the 10-hole broke out, which is basically on the head of the turn that day, and he just never was really comfortable after that, never really gained ground. Prior to that, a month at Aqueduct, in an optional 80, he finished 5th by 3 1/4 lengths that day. Had a very troubled trip where he had to check a few times. He was stupidly wide, and he just wasn't getting going that day in his 3-year-old campaign debut. And then optional 62 at Laurel in the fall over the mile, finished 6th by 1 1/4 lengths that day. Again, a very wide trip, but he was gaining a little bit that day. The only trip this horse finally had a good trip was the main victory at Laurel, going a mile 16th in the main special weight. Won by 2 3/4 lengths. Really won for fun that day. Getting Florent back up, who rode this horse terrifically, I thought, in the 2 races to begin the career for this one. You step down way down the class ladder here today. It wouldn't surprise me if this horse finds a trip to win. I would use this horse and I am going to use this horse on the pick 4 ticket here today. But to recount my selection now for the 8th from Saratoga, going to take the 8 horse here, Miss Pretender. Give kudos to the 9-horse Super Coca, 8-9-7-6 Super, 8-9 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 9th race, which I think is the feature race of the program. It's one of the best races so far, one of the best allowance races at Saratoga this summer. It is an allowance optional claimer purse, $110,000 race for fillies, 3-year-olds here, whichever won $20,000 on the main claim starter, or state bred allowance race, whichever won 2 races, optional claim price of $80,000 here. We have a field of 16 horses entered, 12 through 16 are MTOs, and that could be a very good race by itself right there. But 11 will go 1,700 meters or a mile 16th of the Mellon Turf Course. I'm going to take the 5-horse Grayish as a top selection. 5-11-9-4 for me in the superfecta. 5-11-9-4 super. Top selection of 5-horse Grayish. This 3-year-old by Yoshida here. Trab Brown trains. Flavian Pratt gets them out. Horse's most recent outing came 27th of May, Memorial Day at Aqueduct, on a turf course that had slight give in it on an overcast day. Mile 8th in the Grade 2 Wonder again, and the horse finished 4th by 2 3/4 lengths that day, and he just stalked all the way around the race course and was flat. Maybe just couldn't keep up with those slightly better horses on the day. Down a little bit in class to Saratoga, where it's more forwardly paced, a little bit decrease in trip. I think this horse could really run a competitive race here today than she did last time out. 2 back at Aqueduct, mile 16th in main special, 80,000. She found the success that day. She won by 1 3/4 lengths. She stalked all the way around the race course. She was a little bit wide late, but she got the job done. Major improvement off the race before, which was at Goldstream, mile 8th in the main special weight. She lost Tyler Gaffleone that day, where she clipped heels going to the clubhouse turn, and what can you do? She looked like she could have been a real killer in that race. It was a very tough race. What can you do? She just lost Gaffleone that day. And then on debut at Goldstream, mile 16th in main special weight, finished 3rd by length. She stalked all the way around the race course. She really closed up well late. Maybe a mile and 1/8 she would have won, but she ran her heart out. She's training quite nicely at Belmont. Down in class here today. I'm going to give her a shot on the ticket. I'm the 11-horse Camera for Frankie Dettori, and Todd Pletcher could find a trip also. 3-year-old Philip Curlin here, blinkers on. Most recently, the turf debut here at Saratoga over the mile and an optional 80 during the Belmont Stakes Festival. She finished 2nd by 1 1/4 lengths, and from a wide posture, she stalked. She left out of the gate to good position. She got overtaken late in the lane, but she ran her heart out that day. Her dirt races before that weren't bad at all. She was running a good mid-70 buyers, but she jumped up with a very good 85 buyer last time out. She's trading well here today. Back to turf, getting Frankie up, who's been running under the radar, I think, here in the first week at Saratoga. Some really good races. Rode a really good race on Wednesday afternoon here on the dirt. So, watch out for this horse here today. But, this is a good quality group of horses, so it's going to be exciting to watch this one. But to recap my selection for the 9th from Saratoga, going to take the 5-horse here, Grayish. Give kudos to the 11-horse Camera, 5-11-9-4 Super, 5-11 in the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.